Electric vehicles are a small part of the auto market, less than 1% of worldwide sales. But with higher gasoline prices and an eye on being greener, more consumers are considering them. For more on the business of EVs, we turn to Glen Walker. He is an analyst with Bloomberg New Energy Finance. He is with us now from London. Glen, thanks so much for being with us. Just how much are higher gas prices piquing consumer interest in EVs? I mean, is it possible to quantify at this point?
Yeah, no, sure. I think you're right that the higher gas prices are raising the awareness of the electric vehicles, but actually having a real impact on the economics of electric vehicles. If we rewind back to the beginning of the year, gas prices are around $3 a gallon. And at that price, if you compare a Nissan Leaf, Nissan's electric vehicle, with a comparable gasoline car, it will take around 9 years to break even.
You mentioned
now,
oh, sorry, go ahead. I didn't mean to cut you off.
Sure, I was just going to say that if we look at yesterday's gas price almost touching $4 a gallon, that's actually reduced that payback period for a Nissan Leaf from around 9 years down to 6 years. So definitely having some very measurable effects on the economics.
So you mentioned the Nissan Leaf. We know that GM has the Volt. Those are more or less the top dogs out there as far as the EVs go. What is the sales potential for these products? Just how much could consumers be interested to the point of actually plunking down money for one?
So I think what's important to recognise is that we're in the really early stages at the moment, and those people who are purchasing the vehicles are really the early adopters. And we're seeing some really interesting sales figures come in. Q1 of 2011 was the first quarter ever where we saw over 1,000 electric vehicles sold each month, totaling actually around 7,000 electric vehicles in the quarter. But those numbers are really reflecting the ability of Nissan and GM and others to produce those vehicles, to deliver them and to sell them to customers, because those sales are actually going to fulfill pre-orders which were put in last year. So we're not actually going to see any new sales figures from new customers coming in till towards the end of the year.
In general, though, Glen, I mean, how hard is it to accept that maybe electric vehicles are here to stay? I mean, there are still many challenges to the industry, just including docking stations, infrastructure, right?
No, sure. I mean, at the moment, we're talking about very low numbers. We're talking about, Nissan, who are one of the most optimistic about electric vehicles. They're predicting they're going to have capacity for 50,000 electric vehicles in 2011. And that corresponds to only around 1% of their total sales. But, if we're looking out 2 or 3 years to 2013, they're predicting they're going to have capacity for around 250,000 vehicles. And that then, starts to look at around 6 or 7% of their sales. We're slightly less optimistic about, that kind of penetration into the overall market. But once you're getting into those numbers around the 5 to 10% range, you're going to see some really interesting things happening, not just in the auto industry, but as you say, in the adjoining industries such as the charging infrastructure, as well as, new opportunities and new challenges for the electricity utilities.
Glen, thanks so much. Glen Walker joining us there from London. He is with the Bloomberg New Energy Finance team.